Your Summer Spurs are 0-4 out in Las Vegas at the 2022 NBA Summer League. What does this mean? And it's time to grade the players.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs right here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kings 5 San Antonio. TGIF, everybody. Hope you're enjoying some Spurs basketball. I know, 0-4 out in Las Vegas, but hey, it's not about wins and losses, or maybe it might be for our guests. But we're gonna be discussing the Spurs, or your Summer Spurs, after 4 games in Las Vegas. What do we like? What don't we like? Should we be concerned they have not won a single game in the Summer League? And also give out some grades for a few of the players, because one player did give himself his grade on how he's playing out in Sin City. To help me, I am joined by San Antonio sports star Jack Thompson. He's the co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover. Jack, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. Let's tell everybody right off the bat, you wanted to come on to talk about these young kids, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely, I did.
Yeah, it was earlier this week, I believe, when Jack sent me a message saying that he wanted to come on. Give me on the next one. Give me on the next one. And I'm pretty sure you must be upset that Sohan's not playing.
Oh, yeah, I definitely really wanted to see him out there starting to build some chemistry with these other young guys. But, it's a smart move. He wasn't able to practice in the mini camp, so why risk anything?
Exactly. Yeah. Unfortunately, too, Josh Primo. I mean, I want to say he played a game and a half because that first game he played, he was just really trying to get everybody involved, and he got cooking late in the game. Then, of course, he got sick. Your co-host with a hangover, James Pledger, said that maybe he was just still suffering from side effects of the coronavirus. Maybe that could have been that, but nevertheless, no Primo for the most part, no Sohan for the most. Darius Days didn't even play in the last game versus Atlanta. He is out sick. So hard to judge this team. But let's start off with the big question here, Jack. Should fans be concerned that this team is 0-4 now in Las Vegas?
No. I mean, these games mean absolutely nothing other than starting to build continuity, showing guys what your organization is about on and off the court, and just slowly starting to teach these guys what it takes to be in the NBA and how to be pros. So, of course, you play every game to go out there and win. That's the objective of the game. But when it's games like this, the more important things come from the development and continuity that starts to be built rather than whoever is up by however many points at the end of the game.
Yeah, and look, 0-4 out in Las Vegas, they're meaningless games as far as the real deal, like regular season. The NBA's not going to go back and say the Spurs, oh, you went 0-4 at the Summer League. You're going to start off 0-4. It doesn't matter. It's just about development, experience. Coach Mitch Johnson said after the game versus the Hawks that he hit on that, saying that, hey, we're here for experience. We're here for development. He even joked, he says, show me somebody who was ready to go at 19 years old, playing on an NBA court, so though there are few and far between that can do that. And unfortunately for the Spurs, they don't have that type of player, but they do definitely have players that are showing something out in Las Vegas. Now we're going to get to our grades later on the show, but let's get Jack's thought. Who's been standing out for you so far?
For me, like, the obvious choice is Blake Wesley has been pretty dang good throughout all 4 games in Summer League. Averaged 19 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. A lot better shooter than I thought. He's exceptionally quick with the ball in his hand and without. And because of his quickness, he's able to play pretty good defense. And then in the open court, there are few people more dynamic than him. But, man, with the ball in his hands, he is really, really explosive. And his first step is hard to stop. So I was very impressed with what I saw from Blake Wesley. He was very good.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that whole outside shooting from him, because on draft night, the moment he put that draft cap on, he told me that his shot is so bad that it's terrible. He needs to work on it. He understands it. He slumped on his chair when I asked about it, and because he was just reflecting on his game, saying like, "Yeah, I know." And then we go to Las Vegas, and lo and behold, he's shooting lights out. But we'll definitely get into more detail about him when we give out our grades after 4 games out of Las Vegas. For me, it's Darius Days. He's really opening
that's my second
eyes.
one for sure.
Yeah, Darius Days is showing something.
Yep.
And he's like a tweener big because he's not a 5, but he can play it in a positionless NBA that we got going now.
Yeah.
He's not a traditional 4 because he's so burly and like he's a freight train coming at you, but he has a nice game. He has a sweet jumper. He can knock down the 3, and he's a big. What are your thoughts on him so far? And do you think the Spurs should keep him on board?
I was pleasantly surprised. I thought that he was a different kind of player at LSU. I thought he was more like a physical low post threat kind of guy. I did not know that he had this sort of shooting touch. And I was very pleased with what I saw from him. Plays great defense, can guard 3 through 5 easily, can switch on pick and rolls if it's a 1 and a 2 and you're not like terribly worried that it's going to be an automatic bucket. Even more importantly, he's extremely vocal on defense. You always hear him screaming, getting guys in position, talking help side, talking picks, all that little stuff that you want to see from, an undrafted guy that's trying to make his name in the league. And I was very, very pleased with the way Darius Day played throughout his first 3 games. He shot the ball exceptionally, rebounded the ball really well, averaging 11 rebounds a game. And he had 2 double-doubles. He just played really, really well, and I very much want to give him that second 2-way deal.
Yeah, the Spurs definitely have one left to give. It could be his to lose. Didn't help that he sat out of the last game versus Atlanta, but nevertheless, the Spurs are going to spur. They're going to sit people out, even they have like a hangnail. I mean, that's how crazy they are when it comes to player health. Yeah, there's so many individual bright spots on this summer team, besides the fact that they haven't won a game out there. You look at the squad as a whole. They're blowing leads, and that's one thing that we got to address here. They blew a 15-point lead versus Atlanta. They blew a double-figure lead versus the Rockets. They come out strong. Is this just a symptom of just a very, very young squad with not much familiarity among each other?
Yeah, I would say that it begins with that super young squad. No one on this team, besides like Woodard, Stewart, and Primo have played any minutes together. And all of these guys, everyone else is like their first time really playing in the NBA. So, yeah, it boils down to no continuity, no chemistry, and just being super young. But also, we really don't have on this team, we don't have a rim protecting big that we can throw out there and sort of, in crunch time when shots aren't falling and everything's towards the rim, we don't really have an anchor down there that will really, block shots, control every rebound, stuff like that. With our biggest guy on the team being, Josh Carlton, who's 6'10" out of University of Houston, and then Barlow, who is 6'9", 6'10" out of Overtime Elite. I mean, those guys both had very good moments and played some really good games, but neither of them are necessarily defensive anchors. So when you're playing teams that have guys that have already been playing together, like Atlanta they only had one pick in this year's draft. So basically everyone they brought in was from their G League team or their young guys that are on the roster. So they already have a lot more continuity and chemistry and all that. So it just, it boils down to a few small things that cause you to lose games. So I'm not particularly worried by any stretch because of that, but you want to see them win, and more than anything, they want to go out there and win too. So
Well, Malachi Branham, we'll talk about him in the next segment. It mentioned that, and after the loss to Atlanta, saying that they want to win. That majority of these guys come from winning programs at the college level, so this is different for them to be on a 4-game losing streak.
Yep.
So yeah, but there's so many things to go into. We're gonna coming up soon. We're gonna go ahead and give out grades for certain players. We can't give them all because, frankly, let's just face it, Jack. Most of these guys are probably not going to stay in San Antonio.
Yeah,
But there's
only
some.
about 5.
Yeah, there's a handful of these players that we got to really look at and give out a grade after 4 games out in Las Vegas. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about Bet Online. Bet Online is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for your sporting wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, news this season. They even got the lines already on if any of the Spurs 3 rookies will be getting that Rookie of the Year trophy next season. It's already out already. Go see what those betting lines are at betonline.net. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. We're back with Jack Thompson right here on Locked On Spurs. He's with San Antonio Sports Star, and he is co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover. He'll tell you all about that shortly. And before we continue doing that, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Just a reminder, free and available wherever you get podcasts. You can even find it on the Kens 5 Plus app. Jack, they actually brought Locked On Spurs on the Kens 5 Plus app.
Beautiful.
Hey. People that have the Kens 5 Plus app right now are listening to you right now as we speak.
Awesome. Welcome, y'all. Welcome to the show.
Jack was winning words for that reaction, but let's go ahead and I'm pretty sure now he's going to have a mouthful to say about certain players. Well, let's get the obvious one out of the way first. Let's go ahead and get a grade for Blake. What is your, you gave us your thoughts, but you want to expand on those thoughts, and what is your grade so far for the young rookie?
I'm going to give Blake Wesley an A grade. Constant pressure on the offensive end. He makes your defense guard. He's going to put tremendous pressure on you going downhill. It's very slippery around the basket. And sure, he had, he took some rough and tough shots out there, missed some layups that I'm sure he would like to have back. But when it comes to basketball, the hardest thing is getting to your spot. Once you get to your spot, the shots will come with more reps and time. So the fact that he's only 19 and he's already getting to where he scores and feels most comfortably, it's definitely a big plus. So I'm gonna especially with his 3-point shooting and defense that I didn't quite know he had in his game. I'm giving him an A for these 4 games.
Let me ask you, do you think he's gonna push for the point guard spot in San Antonio, or at minimum maybe backup, or is that Trey Jones's spot to lose?
I think he's gonna push for it, man. I think he is a much more dynamic player than Trey Jones. Trey Jones is very good. Huge fan of his. Plays great defense, floor general, all that good stuff. Makes very few mistakes. But there's nothing particularly special about Trey. I'm not sure how much more room he has to grow as a player. Certainly he could get better in specific things. But Blake Wesley, he's got, sky's the limit with what he can do with his size and athleticism and speed. So, yeah, I think he's definitely going to put pressure on both Primo and Trey for 4 minutes. Definitely.
As long as Pop is there, I think he'll probably rein him in a bit. I definitely, because I think for me, it's a battle between Primo and Jones, and I give Jones the slight edge over Primo simply because of age and experience.
Yeah.
And and whatnot. And we saw what Trey Jones can do when he filled in for DeJounte last season when DeJounte was out. But nevertheless, and let's face it, I mean, Primo sometimes can't control those turnovers. He just tries so much. But nevertheless, for me, my grade on Blake Wesley, I'm gonna give him a B+.
All right.
I think there's a lot of room for growth, and that's why I set the grade
Definitely
in years. There's not a shot that he doesn't like to take. I mean, he's a gunner. I think he needs to get better shot selection. He needs to, physically, he needs to add size. There's a lot of those shots around the rim that he missed simply because he couldn't absorb contact. But I think, fine, that'll come with time. he only plays at one speed though. And I think he needs to rein it in a bit sometimes, learn to control the game a little bit more. Uh, I started seeing it in the last game versus Atlanta. I wanted to see him become a facilitator, and he started doing that. I think I'm going to
6
guess about
assists.
6 assists. Thank you. Yeah, I was going to say 5, but yeah, well, 6 assists. So you're starting to see that spike. But yeah, I think there's a lot of room for improvement, as all the rookies have. They are rookies for that reason. They're going to learn. Up next in our grading the Summer Spurs individual players is Darius Days. I wonder what Jack is going to give Mr. Days. Go ahead, Jack.
I'm going to go ahead and give Darius Days, in what I saw in those 3 games, as an undrafted guy, I'm going to give him an A+ for what I saw out there. Tremendous shooter, plays great defense, had 2 double-doubles, 17 and 12 and 13 and 14. He was coming off the bench too, so he wasn't getting as many minutes as everybody else that was, starting and whatnot. But man, he played tremendous out there. Really showed that he belongs in this modern NBA at 6'7", 6'8". Feathery touch on his jump shot, good footwork around the basket, cleans up the defensive glass, and he guards, 3 through 5 very easily. So I'm going to go ahead and give Darius Days an A+ for what I saw out there from a guy that very few people knew what he could bring to the table.
Were you surprised he went undrafted?
Um, a little bit. I figured he would get picked up in the second round just because he really fits the modern NBA. But I'm glad he went undrafted so that we could snag him real quick for sure.
Yeah, I like the fact that he definitely can perhaps push for that two-way spot. I think in my opinion, I think it's his to lose. The Spurs can definitely use his versatility at that position, at that size, and the little that we've seen so far out in Las Vegas, he looks like he can fit the bill. I'm going to give him again another B plus. Again, room for improvement. I would love to, I know he can knock down the three. I was shocked by that. I didn't think he had that. But I would love to see him just, show more footwork, a little bit more of a post game. He tends to just use his body as a Mack truck, and that's fine. It worked. It worked for Shaq for how long?
Yeah.
But he ain't Shaq.
Yeah.
So just a little bit more finesse to his game. So I'm gonna give him a B plus. Go ahead and move on to the guy who did get a two-way deal, and that is Mr. Dominic Barlow. He was the first to get it. He got picked up by the Spurs on draft night. He went undrafted, but the moment the draft was over, he got the word, like literally in the streets of New York, that he became a Spur. First of all, what did you think about the Spurs giving him a two-way deal and your grade so far for Mr. Barlow?
Yeah, I think he's deserving of the two-way deal. 6'9", 6'10", very fluid athlete. Showed some really good offensive skill set and taking the ball off the dribble towards the rim, off of cuts towards the rim. And then he's got a really soft touch on his jumper that, with time and reps could turn into a pretty reliable three-point threat. He's super nimble and athletic, so he can definitely guard 3 through 5 with ease, and then the switch out onto the 1 or 2, you're not worried about him getting exposed out there. So very pleased with what I saw. Dominic Barlow, definitely tons of room to grow.
Yeah.
He's very raw, very young. Needs to put on a lot of strength. But I was pleased with what I saw. He definitely tries really hard. He when playing James Wiseman, I mean, he took it.
He did it. Yeah, he did a good job.
He took it personally that he was guarding the number 1 pick, and he did a good job when he was out there. So I'm going to go ahead and give my man Dominic Barlow a B for his performance.
Is he the bouncy big the Spurs need?
No, he's not the bouncy big we need. He's more of a finesse. He's definitely super bouncy. He's got a lot of bounce and skill, but I see him as more of a finesse type player. So I wouldn't quite put him as the bouncy big we need, but he's a good piece to what we're trying to build for sure. Lots of long-term potential there.
Yeah, I definitely see him perhaps stashed away in Austin for a good chunk of time next season.
Yeah.
He'll likely be there, barring any type of injury, knock on wood, to some of these young guys that are likely to get a lot of burn. I'm going to give Barlow a C+. He is a definition of raw talent. He
Yeah.
is that. But I like it. The wingspan is good. The effort is good. The presence around the rim is good. He took that matchup against Wiseman personally, as you mentioned. He did his own, damage against Wiseman too. Really made Wiseman work. There's a lot of potential there, but I need to see more of it. And didn't really see a lot of it. Did he even play against Houston? I think he didn't, or he did.
Yeah, he played against Houston. He
played,
had 13-5 against Houston. That was his best game.
Yeah. So definitely need to see him vastly improve moving forward. Let's go to talk about Malachi Branham. As a matter of fact, no, hold your thoughts on that. When we get back, we're gonna grade Malachi Branham, and he might, Jack might have a lot of interesting things to say about Branham. But yeah, we'll do that in just a few seconds. Giving the grade out to Mr. Branham. We're back with Jack Thompson right here on Locked On Spurs. He is with San Antonio Sports Star and the Saturday Morning Hangover. Love going on the Hangover. So much fun with him and Pledger doing their thing. And he'll talk to you about that in just a few seconds. Last but not least, Malachi Branham had a rough start shooting-wise to his summer league play. In my opinion, he looked a little timid, maybe the bright lights. His shot definitely wasn't falling, not just for one game, but for the 2 games in a row. Started coming on in that 3rd game, and it looks like he may have found a groove. What are your thoughts on Malachi and your grade?
Definitely a big fan of Malachi. He's a very smooth scorer. But like you said, he comes off a little timid, and I would really like to see him sort of press things a little bit, kind of like how Wesley does. You're in Summer League. You're an automatic, first rounder. Like, there's nothing that can be taken away from you. So you might as well go out there and get shots up and, put pressure on the opposing defense. But he was, very timid, giving the ball up, not really pushing the action a lot. He had some good games in this first game with the Cavs. He started slow, but he ended with 15. He had 20.6 rebounds against the Rockets, and then finished with 13 points against the Hawks in the last game. So I like him. I think with time, for sure, he can become a solid NBA scorer, 2 guard. But he definitely needs to become more aggressive on the offensive end to do so. And just kind of, press the action a little bit. It's okay to make mistakes as a young guy and learn from them. But if you're not pressing the action, trying to do something, you're never going to make the mistakes that you're going to learn from. So I would like to see him kind of risk it a little bit more so he can come out, bigger, better, stronger in the future. But overall, I think I'm going to give Branham another B on this. Solid effort. Needs to be better defensively and offensively, aggressive-wise. But you can see what the Spurs saw in terms of very high scoring potential, great stroke from the 3, really good from the mid-range, and the Spurs love that. So I'm going to go ahead and give Branham a B as well.
He showed flashes of that 3-level scoring. Out in hitting the 3, knocking the midi, getting to the rim. We definitely saw that. And sure, maybe a little timid, maybe get butterflies. You're now a pro. We forget these are 19-year-old kids.
Yeah,
they're
4 of the guys we've talked about today are
19 years old. So keep that in mind. But they are professionals, and this comes with the territory now. Criticism, the grading, the spotlight. But Malachi did give himself his own personal grade after the loss to the Hawks. He said that he would grade himself a C or C+. And I'm going to agree with him. I think he's in that range, in that C+ range. He had said it himself, too, that he needs to start looking for his own, that he needs to start being more assertive in that department.
Yeah.
So the mind is there. It's just the body. Now, can you put it together on the court? And we will definitely see it. Jack and I talked about this before we hit record, and there probably is going to be one more Spurs game. We just don't know when it's going to be. But all signs are pointing to the Spurs playing one more game out in Las Vegas. But nevertheless, Malachi, he's definitely showed assertiveness. Didn't he try to punch one down on somebody? I forgot who it was. He definitely tried to punch one on a Rockets player. So their aggression is there, athletic as well. But you look at him, you're like, okay, where is this offensive juggernaut? Where is the steal of the draft that the Spurs got at what was he, 20, right? Yeah, number 20.
Yeah, 20.
But I like what I'm seeing, but I'm gonna give him a C plus simply because of that slow start.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
That really caught me off guard. I didn't, and again, fine. You give him one. All right, fine. You're a rookie. You're 19 years old. And then to follow that up with another kind of a bad shooting night, and then start off with poor shooting, and then kind of rally towards the end. We saw that in the last two games. We need to see more consistency out of him. What do you think of him defensively, though?
It's a lot like offensive end. He needs to use his athleticism and length to his advantage. He certainly needs to get stronger to keep people in front, but athleticism and lengthwise, he's got all the tools. It's just defense is really all effort and mentality, and you have to be able to tap into that. And at 19, coming off a tad timid, guys who have been in the league are going to be able to read that, and they're going to go at you even harder. So he needs to kind of be able to flip that dog mentality switch that he's going to take every matchup personally. But there's definitely the potential there to be a good defender. So nothing wrong with really what I saw, but except for the aggressive level.
There's one player that I'm kind of down on because I expected a lot more out of him is Robert Woodard.
Yeah, he did not look good.
Yeah, I really thought that he would be the one to chase that two-way contract to get that deal. Now all signs are pointing to Days, probably getting it because Woodard was just wrecking the G League last season.
Yeah.
Woodard was actually on an NBA team, the Kings. Woodard was actually on loan from the Kings to this Austin Spurs a few seasons ago. Of a veteran. He is a veteran of the league, and he's kind of been lackluster. That really, really surprised me. I wonder if, if the Spurs will keep him around in Austin. We'll definitely see another team pick him up. Goes to the Kings. Don't know, but yeah, he's kind of been really a bit disappointing for me. Is there anybody else that's been standing out that we did not name?
Standing out, maybe not, but DJ Stewart has had some good games, good moments. Kai Bowman has had some solid moments here and there, but I think we really hit on everyone who stands out. It's really been like more individual play flashes from other guys. Speaking about Bowman and DJ Stewart, they both have played some good minutes out there, but more so neither of those guys are going to find themselves set in stone on an NBA roster. So they're both G League types, two-way guys, and that they showed enough to where I think that maybe teams that aren't set as in stone in the rebuild mode like the Spurs are might take a flyer on them. But Kai Bowman and DJ Stewart definitely had some good moments.
He is Jack Thompson with San Antonio Sports Star, and he is the co-host of the Saturday Morning Hangover. Now, before I let you go, Jack, just a couple more things. Did you happen to catch what Keldon Johnson had to say to ESPN after the game versus Atlanta?
I heard some of it, but I had to go.
Yeah, no, in a nutshell, basically that he's ready to embrace the veteran, quote unquote veteran position now that DeJounte is gone. He said he's in Vegas, obviously, to show support for the young kids. He likes who the Spurs drafted. He thinks they'll fit in well. But interesting enough, though, he's fully aware about the rebuild. He said it himself, saying, he goes, in a nutshell, it's obvious that this team is resetting. A lot of thoughts, about his future in San Antonio. He is with Clutch Sports. What is this? What do you think this is? Is Keldon going to eventually find the way like DeJounte did to exit San Antonio down the road? Because chances are high that he'll be either at his prime or entering the prime when the Spurs are probably just barely turning the corner.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that possibility. I think a lot of what we did this offseason was to free up the money to where he's finishing his rookie deal next
Mhm.
year so that we'll have the money already set to go and pay him what he deserves and keep him around long term. But post that contract, I mean, you never know what's going to happen, what we're going to look like, who's going to be on the team. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility that he does leave after his next contract. But
Right.
I hope that he doesn't. I like Keldon a lot. I think there's a lot more growth and potential to be had with him, and we saw him take a huge jump last year, and I would expect him to be a 20-plus point scorer a night this
Mhm.
year. So definitely excited to see what Keldon's going to be as the number one guy in San Antonio.
We know him and Vassell will likely get a lot of the touches next season.
Yep.
So everything's probably going to be funneled through them. As a matter of fact, this is what actually the quote that Keldon Johnson said, quote, as everybody knows, we're rebuilding. So it's, it's pretty obvious. So writing's on the wall, big old sign hanging off the downtown Tower of the Americas right now. The Spurs are in rebuild mode.
Yep.
This is just part of it. This is it. Jack Thompson, I cannot also let you go without asking you, have you been keeping up with My Hero Academia?
I have not been keeping up with it as of late. It's been a while since I've tuned in, but I definitely need to get back on track.
I'm catching up on the most recent season. I think they should just call it My Villains Academia, but it's actually
Yeah.
really good. It's actually really good. We get their backstory. Like, you know who Toga is? The girl with the
Yeah.
blood? Yeah, her.
Uh-huh.
Her backstory was insane. Like, just really good. That other guy, Twice, he can just
Uh-huh.
duplicate himself.
Yeah.
Just like they go into his mental issues. Like, it's
Yeah,
just
I have seen that part. I have seen the Twice. I
okay.
can't remember Toga's backstory, but I think I've seen some of that arc too. So I
Yeah.
just haven't watched all of it yet.
But I'm glad they're doing this because I like that. I like we finally get to see like their story, like
Yeah.
and I think that's refreshing. You don't really see that, at least in American cartoons. You don't really see that, but in anime, Japanese born anime shows, you get different aspects of it. And I was shocked at the backstory of Endeavor. I did not know. I didn't know that he abused his family. That caught me off guard.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought it was just a jealousy thing between him and his son. I always
No,
thought that's all it was.
it's a hothead.
Hey,
for
everybody,
sure.
listen up, everybody. This is not for kids. If you have kids, there's certain episodes you can let them watch, and there's some that you probably shouldn't. This is one of them. But yeah, Jack. Before I tell everybody how they can follow me and check out Locked On Spurs, tell us what's going over there at the Star and what's your Twitter handle.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Jack_Thompson33. Every Saturday from 7 to 9 now on 94.1 FM. You can catch myself and my co-host James Pledger as we break down all the major sports storylines from the previous week. We go NBA, NFL, college football, college basketball, MLB, heavy. And but we break it down in a very light, fun-hearted way, cracking a lot of jokes, just in there having a good time. I'd compare it to your, at the bar talking sports with your buddies. That's kind of like what we focus on, is just really light, fun-hearted stuff. So if that sounds good to you, tune in every weekend, Saturday, 7 to 9 a.m. on 94.1 FM, San Antonio Sports Star. The Saturday morning hangover, man. It's a great time every weekend, and hope you all tune in.
Have y'all debated where Phase 4 of the MCU is grading? At least that
We have not.
I wonder if that'll spark a debate because I'm down on Phase 4. It feels like everything is just scattered. Like there's no connective tissue.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Yeah,
I mean that's what everybody's telling me. That's what everybody's telling me. Like, I need to hold my horses, saying like just give it time. I mean, the loose link is obviously the Loki series to the multiverse.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, it's like they don't reference what Loki. I don't know because they probably don't know what Loki did, right? That Loki started. Well, Sylvie, I guess, started it. But Yeah, I can go on and on at this point because I'm not down with phase 4 as of now. But make sure to check out Locked On Spurs wherever you get your favorite podcast: Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, now on YouTube, and the Ken's 5 YouTube page and the Ken's 5 Plus app. There's no excuse for you to not catch Locked On Spurs. And thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. We'll be back next week, probably talking more about the Summer Spurs. But it's going to start getting very, very quiet soon because the NBA is about to hit that very quiet point in their off season. Now, for your second listen, get up to date on the latest news and rumors in the NBA in just 30 minutes every day with Locked On NBA. Locked On NBA is your daily NBA update in just 30 minutes. So for Jack All Might Thompson, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.